Are you entitled to an opinion? You can have an opinion, but you aren't always entitled to it. First though, if you haven't done so yet, smash the subscribe button and hit the like button so that the YouTube algorithm will get this out to the people who need it most. If you're on Facebook, share this as wide as you can. Now let's get started. Professor Patrick Stokes, Associate Professor of Philosophy at Deakin University, in an article originally posted in The Conversation, said this: philosophy teachers owe it to our students to teach them how to construct and defend an argument, and to recognize when a belief has become indefensible. That article came out in 2012, and earlier this year, Stokes revisited it, stating this: today it is pretty clear that our politicians and commentators have never seen the inside of a philosophy classroom, and the question of whether we are entitled to our opinion has never been more pertinent than ever before. The meaning of opinion is a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. Perhaps you've said the expression, maybe to head off an argument or bring one to a close. Well, Professor Stokes says, as soon as you enter his classroom, it's no longer true. You are not entitled to your opinion. You are only entitled to what you can argue for. In the world of social media, bringing misinformation and false news, we've also seen an increase to the myth of privilege to free speech. The myth has two components. The first is that all speech should be free, and the second is that freedom of speech means freedom from objection. Briefly, the first point. Believe it or not, but in Australia, freedom of speech isn't actually a thing. Worse is that here there are actual laws to protect government secrets. The public having certain information is indeed discouraged. In fact, journalists have fallen victim to these laws. You can look at the raids by the Australian Federal Police on the ABC journalist Anika Smethurst in 2018. When it comes to the US, free is also problematic. But let's not get carried away here. The focus is on the second part of the myth. Freedom of speech is freedom from objection. Of course, everyone can have an opinion, and as informed citizens, we should all have opinions. The problem is, to be entitled to an opinion, expertise or training is necessary for your opinion to have any weight. The meaning of entitled: believing oneself to be inherently deserving of privileges and special treatment. If you believe you're deserving of privileges and special treatment because of freedom of speech, then sadly you are wrong. You are only entitled to your expertise and training. To further on that, Stokes says, it's important to gather knowledge from appropriate places. This means the responsibility is on you to do your research. Real considered research that prioritizes quality of knowledge over quantity of knowledge. Be wary of everything else. Articles often misrepresent information. And don't even get me started on the Murdoch media. And people on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube should be treated with as much scrutiny as possible. Even me. This is because most of these opinions are quite often just non-expert views and judgments formed about something. In a culture that tells us that everyone's opinion matters, sometimes it's mistaken that everyone's opinion matters. All the time. Even if it is uninformed or misinformed.
You know,
It's his right to make false statements?
well, it's his right to express his opinion as a president-elect of the United States. I think one of the things that's refreshing about our president-elect, it's one of the reasons why I think he made such an incredible connection with people all across this country, is because he tells you what's on his mind.
But why is it refreshing to make false statements?
See, this is where the statement, I'm entitled to my opinion, has turned into the growing idea online and in the media, freedom of speech is under attack. These incredibly angry-looking people, almost bursting a vein and look like they want to choke us, feel this way because they can't argue a point with evidence. It's a view or judgment on a point that they aren't trained in. Get in the experts. Since they don't want to be told they are wrong, it's easier for them to believe that freedom of speech means freedom from objection. This then seems to find its way into our news feeds and public spaces, with conversations turning into, I don't care what you think, that's just how I feel. Or I can say or think whatever I like. The problem with this is, one, they are shutting down a discussion they clearly can't win, acting like to continue would be disrespectful, and two, they are sheltering beliefs that have clearly been disproven and should be abandoned, such as anti-vaccination, disbelief in climate change, and conspiracy theories around the coronavirus. This is not okay. It's the false equivalence of non-experts believing they're the same as experts who have spent years in their field, which in turn is heightening our public discourse. For fun, let me show an example. And this is an actual conversation that happened online.
OMG. I just saw this article. What's going on over there in Australia?
Oh, this woman was arrested for incitement after she created an event encouraging people to protest the lockdown laws and put many lives at risk.
So you enjoy losing your freedom then?
If you mean stopping the spread, then yes, I do. Look what's happening in the US. We don't want to get to that.
You know that 94% of those cases are inflated.
I just did a quick search and found that's in fact a conspiracy theory by a group called QAnon.
Hey man, just because you believe the government doesn't mean I have to.
No, you are right. I trust science.
Yeah, and the government controls all science.
Okay. During the Age of Enlightenment, Professor Stokes explained that philosophers such as Immanuel Kant encourage critical thinking and questioning of what we know. But an important part of thinking for oneself is having intellectual humility and understanding when we don't have enough knowledge on a topic. Now that some say we're in the age of entitlement, if everyone's entitled to opinion means entitled to have your views treated as serious candidates for the truth, then it's pretty clearly false. And this too is a distinction that tends to get blurred. There is a distinction between opinion and common belief. For example, gravity is a common belief, but for some reason, climate change often isn't. A lot of the opinions that get involved have a lot of subjectivity and uncertainty, ranging from tastes or preferences through to views that concern most people, like prejudice and politics, to the views grounded in the technical expertise, such as the legal and scientific opinions. Finally, Professor Stokes made the case that there is a moral obligation to get your opinion right. If an opinion is ungrounded, people can get hurt. For example, an uninformed opinion may lead to an accusation being made against an innocent, or in the case of misinformed climate change opinions, denial will lead to untold devastation for people, animals, and the planet. Making sure that your opinion is properly grounded does have a moral obligation to it. The moral is you are not entitled to your opinion, you are only entitled to what you can argue for. And the next time someone says to you they are entitled to their opinion, without further context, ask them why they think that. How or what life experiences shape their current view? Who influence their beliefs and values? Or why they judge others who don't share their perspective? Chances are, if nothing else, you'll end up having a far more enjoyable conversation. Thanks for going beyond a thought in the expression entitled to your opinion. Once again, smash the subscribe button, like this video, and maybe share on your socials to really get this idea trending and out to the masses. Leave a comment about your favorite conspiracy or opinion that needed further knowledge. Oh, there's some good ones. How was Flat Earthers? Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? Oh.